This talk will look at the formation of 4-2-3-1. We'll look at its defensive principles and also its offensive principles. So here is the formation. We've got the goalkeeper. We've got our back four, our fullbacks, left fullback, right fullback. We've got our two center backs. Then we have two holding mids. And then we have a line of three midfielders. So this would be the left wing, the right wing. This would be your offensive center midfielder. And then we have our center forward. Advantages to this formation, it brings you a lot of balance in that you do have some forward options. You have that consolidation and pressure on the ball and defense. So it's a good formation in terms of balance. As well, it can shift into a 4-4-2. It can shift into a 4-3-3. It's a very fluid formation, so you're never going to see, these lines all the time. They're going to, this attacker, this attacking midfielder might push up, and it might look more like a 4-4-2. And so it gives you a lot of flexibility. Disadvantages, some might say, is that you've only got one center forward. So that's asking a lot of these kind of three players to come and complement and get involved. So that's maybe the disadvantage of it. So in terms of offensive principles, so let's talk from a goal kick. Here we go. The goalkeeper's got the ball. So what we should see on a goal kick, starting out, building from the back, we should see this kind of shape. We should see these players getting as high up the field as possible. Okay, and by creating that space, we should be able to maintain possession. This is really the only place on the field where we'll numerically outnumber our opponent for the most part. So we should be able to keep possession out of the back with this shape. And so we're looking for that entry of the ball. We can restart again to the goalkeeper. We can switch to the other side. We're looking for these two players to find little angles where they can get on the ball. Maybe they can open up, and then we build that attack from there. But all over the field, no matter if we play long or we play around the back, we should be able to go backwards to maintain possession. And that pass, of course, is called the start again pass. The player receiving is the pivot player, who will look to switch it to the side that's less pressured. So that start again pass through the pivot player is vital. It's a pattern of play that we need to see all over the field. We should be using our goalkeeper for that. So if there is pressure here, we can switch back to the center back, pass to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper looks to switch to the other side. And that way, that's the side that's least defended, the weak side as we call it. And we should be able to probe for an opening going east to west across the field until we get that moment where we can pass that ball through. So in terms of advancing the ball up, let's say we get it into to one of our pivot players. Let's just say we've started again through our pivot player. As soon as that player gets the ball and is facing forward, we should see a variety of options. As soon as that player's first touch is taken and the eyes go up, we should be seeing players moving into space. So this player here, as soon as this player receives it, they should be looking to make diagonal runs between the lines. When we say between the lines, we mean, most likely the opposition is going to play with a back four. We should have that movement where these players are providing something for the ball carrier. So it might be that, we got our center forward here. Maybe the center forward acts like a false nine and drops down, in the process pulling out a defender a little bit. Well, then these guys should look to be capitalizing on that. So really, these players should play in combination. If one comes short, maybe the other one sneaking through the lines and looking to get that ball. So we're looking for that kind of movement, that mobility, to really unlock and unbalance the opposition. Okay, so that's very important. And as these guys make the cut and come through these lines, maybe the fullbacks and the center backs are pulled out of position slightly. We should be looking for our fullbacks to get involved as well and joining the party, so to speak, because if we do have that mobility and we imbalance the defense, then we should be looking to exploit that with well-timed runs into space, so we can get in behind and make it very, very difficult for the opposition. As a rule of thumb, I like to anyway, if a fullback is advancing here, then for the most part the other fullback has defensive responsibilities. Now, as we attack, everybody gets up the field, and let's just recreate the shape. So let's say we've got the ball to that fullback there. We should be having at least, hopefully, 3 players joining the party and getting involved. So our winger that was over here will be coming in closer, attacking that back post area. Our center forward would be looking to maybe make a run in this regard. And this would be one of our offensive midfielders looking to bust through as well. So let's say those players do their job and they get into position. There we go. So our fullbacks getting involved and our forwards and midfielders getting involved. We should see kind of this pattern behind. So it would be a center back. There's our holding mids. There's our other center back, and we'd like that fullback kind of just to be in and consolidate. So we see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players kind of have that defensive role. At the same time, they're in there looking to support if need be and looking to switch the point of attack and finding that weak side like we talked about. But at the same time, these 2 players are really important, because let's say we attack, these players are attacking and the ball breaks and suddenly it's there. These 2 players have an important responsibility to put pressure on the ball right away, to delay the attack, look to try it, win it back, and ultimately keep the ball in their half. So we're looking for that role and responsibility out of these 2 holding midfielders. Very important. Have to have really good judgment and looking to delay the attack. And in delaying that attack, then the players can recover their shape. Let's say that the ball is played wide over here and they get in behind us. Well, every player has to work very hard to get back behind the ball to hopefully delay them. But let's say that we do delay them. They've still got possession. We should see a block like so. We have our 2 center backs, our fullback. The fullback would eventually get back. We'd have our 2 holding mids. There we go. We'd have our wide midfielder. We'd have our center mid there, and we'd have our wide midfielder here, and we'd have our striker in here. So let's say they get in behind us, we delay their attack, and then we've got this block. And what we're looking for in this block is a block that is compact from the back line to the front line. It should be very compact, because we want to restrict the space they have to play in. And by having that offside line there, we know that they can't play in behind. So we can squeeze their space by really the leadership of the center backs and also the fullbacks and the goalkeeper by moving up the field. So if that ball goes back slightly, that line right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, should all be coming up as a unit. All right, and if that ball is then, say, played into space and time, and that player has a little bit of space to get their head up, we should be anticipating that. And 1, 2, 3, 4 should be, if that ball's about to be played forward, they can look to drop a little bit. So they're really playing as a unit. If the ball is switched to the other side there, as a rule of thumb, we're going to try and get all our defenders in one quadrant, in 1/4 of the field. And so it looks like this. We should be aspiring to eliminate space and time on the ball, having that tight triangulation, and really eliminating that space and time, not allowing them to those big acres of space where they can get on the ball and make good decisions. So we aspire to all get over into one quadrant. Now, if the ball is switched and it's a 60, 70 yard ball to to a player over here, and it's in the air and it comes all the way across. Well, we should have time for this player, if they're reading the body language of the passer, to get over and eliminate that space and time to delay their attack. That fullback should be coming over as well to support. And not only that, but this triangle should also be moving across too, staying intact to stifle passing lanes. Center back should be getting across all the way across, and the fullback should be tucking in as well. As a rule of thumb, we should, in the back line, we should have these. We should have at least 2 players between the posts. You know, if we come all the way out here, then all these players here should be coming over a little bit more, and all coming over to help the first defender. Now we forgot about this gentleman over here. I'll come on in and tuck it in, consolidate. And as you can see here, we've got the 2 players between the posts, which is fantastic. We ask out of these players to do 2 jobs for us. And the 2 jobs are basically to cover a passing lane, and they also be able to mark a player if need be. So, you know, these players, rather than being tight, you know, rather than being tight to a player and leaving a passing lane, we ask them to play the lanes, so to speak. So we ask them to be in a position where they can intercept passes, you know, here, or they can intercept passes here. So they'll be able to mark a player, but they're also taking away a passing lane. We want them to do 2 jobs. And that's really important when we have that first defender on there. These other players need to be tight, but not too tight in covering a passing lane. If they do that, they're doing 2 jobs, and that tight triangulation stops the other team from going forward. And it allows us to be more successful at intercepting the ball. So really important that we teach our players to do 2 jobs, cover that lane, and be able to mark a player at the same time. So that is the very quick overview of the 4-2-3-1. I probably missed a few things in there, but hopefully it gives you a little foundation on that formation and the principles that we use when playing. Those principles, so important, the successful patterns that underpin team play. Best of luck with your coaching.